Hello everyone, it's Christina. Welcome to Make a Card Monday, and this is the card we'll be making today. A beautiful little birthday card made with the new Gina K Designs poly glaze sheets. These are sheets that you use with foil and put them through a laminator or one of the foiling machines. But I did get the kit for June. June. Delicate Flowers is the name of this set that was in the kit. And these are just the stamps that go along with the poly glaze sheets. And it also has dies that come with it. So I went ahead and cut out all of the poly glaze things that were in that little poly glaze kit that it showed. And I foiled everything. So I have a bunch of stuff to play with ink blending. And today we're going to be building a card with two of these flowers and some of the leaves and filigree that comes with it. And I did pick one of the sentiments out as well. So I have my new, I'm going to show you the stencils first. So in the kit, the stencils come too. And there's a certain way to set this up so that you can find where the stencil goes on this flower. This little, I call them daisies. Not sure what kind. They could be like a mum type flower. Dahlias. They all kind of look alike to me. But if you set it just like this with the long point down, you'll have an easier time lining it up with the stencil. I'm showing you that point because there's two petals on the right hand side where the stencil will also line up as well, where there's not a point in between those two petals. I've got to do something with my lighting. The glare is terrible. Trying to adjust that light there, but I can't get that line out. So I'm going to be using my Memento inks. And I have Lulu. Let me grab my sheet here and I'll tell you the colors. So I'm using Lulu Lavender and Sweet Plum. And this is my new sticky mat. I put it on a 14 by 14 glass mat, and I'm going to leave it on here all the time and just cover it with the plastic. But I did get this from scrapbook.com. And I'll put the link to that in the description. Boy, does it hold a stencil really well. You'll see when I'm pulling them off how well it holds. Probably one of my best investments thus far. I do like to stencil, so it comes in handy. But look how nice that grabs onto that stencil. And the ink pad, it won't move. Some of them I had a hard time getting them off. So I'm going in with the Lulu Lavender. And in the middle of this stencil, these are very delicate, so you don't want to push too hard when you're blending, ink blending, because you don't want to damage the stencil. So I'm using a really light touch here. And I am using a bigger blender brush, the normal size. I always forget I have that smaller size. So it's either I use this one or I use the little tiny, I call them my pencil brushes because they're really small. But I really like this size right here. You get a little more coverage. So I don't want to get this too dark because I want that contrast of the two colors. So there's our first layer. I had a hard time getting that ink pad off of there. And this is the plum. Sweet plum. It's a pretty, pretty color. I like purpley mauve-y colors. You know the difference between a purple and a pink. I like that in between. So this is like the back petals. At least that's what it looks like when I take the stencil off. Like these are the background petals. So I'm making these a little darker. I love contrast. Being an artist, you always look for contrast. Some place to draw the eye. But I am having fun making these cards. It's keeping me busy. Because these puppies are something else. Tonight was bath night. Oh boy. So much easier when we just had Ellie. That's super pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and ink blend the rest of these, and I'm going to play some music, and I'll be back in a bit. Oh, but I am going to wipe some of this ink off the gold foil. You don't want to rub too hard though, but you can get the excess off. You'll get just a tiny bit on your rag, but it does take it off. It's super pretty. So I'll be back. So I ended up doing 2 sets of those flowers. And here I'm showing you the layers I'll be using: the gold foil, the black shimmer paper, and just white cardstock. But now I'm going to stencil a little bit of background so it's not just plain white. And I'll be using the plum on this as well. Just doing a light scattered ink blend here, just for a little background color. If you watch Gina K, you'll see that she does this all the time on her cards, and I just think it's pretty because that's going to run up through between my flowers, so I wanted something pretty there. So I probably will be foaming these flowers up and making them stand up. And this card ends up with an overlap. So this card, if you purchase this card from me, it's going to come with a 5x7 envelope because I just didn't have it in my heart to cut off the excess. It's just too pretty. I decided not to use those leaves. But I kind of wanted that ovally surround of that cardstock. It looks super cute like that. So those I'll put away. We'll use them on something else. I'm getting a nice box full of leftovers that I don't use. Someday I'll tie them all together in cards. So these are 3 milliliter thick foam squares. So I get a good puff up on this so I won't have any trouble putting things underneath. Look at that gold shimmer. It's so pretty. I really did have fun foiling these, by the way. And I just used my plain old laminator. I did heat it up for about 20 minutes before I started foiling, though, to make sure it was hot enough. And it went through beautifully. So then you start pulling everything out when you start doing stuff like that. I had a bunch of toner sentiments. I just ran as much as I could through my machine that day. So they're all ready to go. This bottle does clog up really easy. So I clean it with a head pin. I tried putting the head pin down in there, but it's not one of my sterling silver head pins, so you got to be careful because it will discolor your glue. So I don't leave it in there now. But I am still using the knitting needle stopper on the top of that glue bottle. So now I have everything glued down. I decide that I'm going to pop up those 2 inner yellow flowers to go with the dimension that I already created. And these are only 2 millimeter. So they're not going to pop up as high as the purple flower, but they will stand up off the card. Cute. I'm very happy with it at this point. Everything just kind of flows together. But I'm looking at all this overhang and I'm like, I am not cutting that off. It needs to be there. I wanted to fill this up and make it super pretty. So I did give it a little bit of a black frame. Makes the purple flowers stand out more. But I'm all into this shimmer paper all of a sudden, between the white and the black. And I love a good foil. I wasn't going to use a foil layer, but because I foiled the flowers, I thought that would be pretty. So it has a lot of shine to it. And I'm happy with the way it turned out. I love using the glues. Look at the wiggle room I have. Yay. And then I'm going to put this on a card base, and there'll be a side fold on this card. I did make 2 more of these that just say thanks on them, with single flowers and the leaves. I did use leaves, and I did do them with yellow. And those I'm going to put in the Etsy shop too. But I was showing you how it sticks out. I'm not going to cut it off. I just think it would look bad if I cut it, so I wanted to leave the flowers there. I'm going to hold this down for a bit, let that foil get the glue on it. And then the sentiment that I'm using is birthday greetings, I believe it says. I should have wrote it down. And I have that up on foam squares. I think those are 3 millimeter as well. But I end up, after this video, I tuck the top of the be under the flower because it was resting just on the edge and I didn't really care for that. So I ended up tucking it behind. Simple little card with a big punch. So I do have some black half pearls that I'm going to put on here. Gold. I need a better system to store my jewelies though, because they're way over on the edge of my desk and I have this fear that someone's going to knock that bin over, and they're all in like these little drawers with compartments. If someone bumped that off my desk, what a mess that would be. We're talking like 50,000 jemmies, if not more. And sequins. It would be awful. It's 3 drawers, and I think there's maybe 15 compartments or 25 compartments in each drawer, and they're filled to the top. So, yeah, it would be a mess. So I'm just going to boop these on here, as Kathy Zilski would say, boop. I love the word boop. You guys know that. And there's my finished card. But we have to stamp it. I should have done that before I did all the other stuff, but it's fine. It worked. So I do also have a adhesive eraser, and I'm going to go in and clean up because I find little pieces of stuff stuck on the paper, and it's probably just dried glue, and this little adhesive eraser takes it right off. And it works great on stamps when they're brand new as well. So there's my card, and thanks so much for watching me, guys. I will see you next week with another card video.